Tonight, when you fall asleep, you are going to become completely helpless. No weapon in your hand, no plan in your head, just you, unconscious, breathing slow for the next 7 or 8 hours. Millions of people do this every single night in tents, in cabins, in campsites deep inside wolf country, and bear country, and mountain lion country. And almost none of them get eaten. That should not make sense. A sleeping human is slow, blind, and silent about everything except the sound of its own breathing. By every rule of nature, you are the easiest meal a predator could ever ask for. But something stops the attack before it starts. Most people assume it is luck. It is not luck. It is a hidden switch buried in the predator's own brain. And once you understand it, you will never look at a campsite the same way again. Stay till the end, because the last part of this story is not about wolves at all. It is about you. So let's start with the obvious question. Why doesn't a hungry predator just walk up and take the easy kill? Here's what's fascinating. In 2020, a researcher named Ishana Shukla presented new findings at the Wildlife Society's annual conference. She had noticed something strange. Almost nobody had studied how animals protect themselves during sleep. Not how they hunt. Not how they run. How they survive the hours when they cannot do either. And what she found was that sleep is not a gap in an animal's defenses. It is a defense system of its own. Picture a deer at dusk. It does not just collapse wherever it gets tired, it chooses a dense thicket, a ledge with only one way in, a spot upwind from where predators usually travel. The deer is not sleeping randomly. It is choosing the most defensible position on the entire landscape, the same way you would lock every door before bed without even thinking about it. And here is the twist. Researchers found that plant eaters like deer and elk can afford to be picky about when they sleep because they can eat at almost any hour, so they save their sleep for the safest windows. But it might be the strangest part of all. Even eating patterns bend around fear. So what about the predators themselves? Don't they just wait for the perfect moment? Here is where the story flips. Scientists studying predator behavior found something counterintuitive. The biggest, strongest predators, the ones with nothing left to fear, actually have the least pressure to hunt sleeping prey. They can afford to wait for a fair fight because losing a meal costs them almost nothing. It is the smaller, hungrier predators, the ones squeezed between bigger threats and starvation, that take the most desperate risks. In other words, the animal most likely to break the rules is the one with the least to lose. Sound familiar? But here is what's fascinating. Even when the opportunity is right there, something in the predator's own mind gets in the way. Scientists call it neophobia, an automatic caution around anything unfamiliar. A tent is not food-shaped. A campfire smells wrong. A sleeping bag makes no sound a predator recognizes as prey. To a wolf or a bear, a motionless human wrapped in fabric does not compute as an easy target. It computes as a question mark. And in the wild, question marks get avoided, not attacked. This is why the rare human deaths that do happen almost always trace back to something broken. An old lion with worn-down teeth that can no longer chase healthy prey. A bear defending cubs it thinks are under attack. Desperation and misunderstanding, not calculated ambush. So does that mean sleeping animals are just sitting there defenseless, hoping for the best? Not even close. In 2011, researchers in the Netherlands ran an experiment on small birds called great tits. While the birds were awake, the smell of a nearby predator sent their stress hormones climbing immediately. But once those same birds fell asleep, and researchers introduced that exact same predator scent into their nest boxes, nothing happened. No spike. No reaction. Their sleeping brains simply did not process the danger the same way their waking brains did. It sounds like proof that sleep really is a blind spot. But then the story gets stranger, because not every animal sleeps with its guard fully down. Imagine you are a dolphin. You cannot stop swimming, and you cannot stop breathing air even for a minute, or you drown. So evolution solved an impossible problem. Only half of a dolphin's brain sleeps at a time. One hemisphere rests while the other stays awake, keeping one eye literally open. Watching the water, some birds do the exact same thing, resting one half of their brain while the other stays alert for predators circling above. It sounds like science fiction. It is not. It is just what happens when staying alive depends on never fully checking out. And here's the part that changes everything. You already do a smaller version of this. In 2016, researchers at Brown University put people to sleep in a lab and tracked their brain waves. On the very first night in an unfamiliar place, one side of the subject's brain stayed noticeably more alert than the other, all night long, standing guard while the rest of the brain rested. Nobody trained these people to do this. Nobody told them to. Their brains just did it automatically, the exact same trick dolphins and birds use to survive open water and open sky. That restless, uneasy first night in a hotel room you always blamed on the mattress. That was never about the mattress. That was a leftover piece of ancient night watch, still running in your skull, checking the room for predators that have not existed near you in thousands of years. So here is the real answer, the one hiding underneath all of it. Predators do not usually attack sleeping prey because sleep itself is not actually silence. It is a second kind of defense, built from smart hiding spots, half-alert brains, and predators too cautious or too comfortable to bother with an unfamiliar target. Vulnerability and safety were never opposites in nature. They were always the same coin, evolution just kept flipping it in your favor. And that is the part that is really about you. Every single night, some quiet, ancient piece of your brain still runs a check for danger before it lets the rest of you drift off. The same watch a bird keeps for owls, the same watch a dolphin keeps for sharks. You will probably never meet a predator in your bedroom, but your body has not gotten the memo yet. Somewhere under all your blankets and locked doors and city lights, you are still, quietly, sleeping with one eye open.